Everybody wants to be at
Hmm.
the land of milk and honey. And I say, if you don't know where your land of milk and honey is, don't complain if you end up at the land of headaches and heartache. So you have to know where you want to go. You may not be exactly there, but at least you know you have direction. So when the wind is in your face, you can still, you're getting there, but when the wind's at your back, you can really make some great strides. And so finding direction in your life of where you want to be, where you want to go. If you just wake up every morning just like, oh God, let me go get the keys, let me go get my teeth, let me go out the door to go to work, I hate my job. And if you're not setting your sights on something, it doesn't have to be majesties or money, or it just has to be something that you're striving for. But I want to be just a better artist, I want to be a better dancer, I want to be a better, just give yourself something that you can start taking the steps to get there.
Leo season's here, and if you've been craving the courage to show up and be truly seen, I made something for you. Safe to Be Seen is my new seasonal workbook filled with soul centered prompts, mirror work, and grounding rituals to help you embody your light without fear. This isn't about performance, it's about presence, and you're ready. Download it now at my website, empoweredwithmelisahepner.org, or you can go to my link tree on my Instagram, and there is a link directly there. Emotionally unavailable.
Okay.
So, you are a doctor of chiropractic, right?
Correct.
Okay. And you have developed a system called 5 Steps a Day that really just like is a simplified way for people to track kind of these 5 different areas and whether or not their activities in those areas kind of, propelled them towards their goals or not that day. Like a good tracking
An
system.
accountability journal. It's an
Yeah.
accountability journal.
Yeah. Okay. And what are the 5 areas again?
Uh, Body, mind, and spirit. The word STEPS is an acronym for sleep, think, eat, physical, and spirit. And so every day you just kind of shade in the footstep for the action you took that day. Hopefully by the end of the day, by the end of the week, you'll get this visual picture of all these footsteps you took. And there's something about visually seeing all those steps that kind of further anchors into your subconscious, makes you either motivates you to keep going or like, hey, I'm doing good. I'm doing kind of crappy now. I haven't done anything that I kind of set out to do that I wanted to do. And because I think we all know what we're supposed to do, whether we're taking action to make it happen is always the other story.
Right. Well, and I think too, I like that you are taking into account the different ways people process information in that like some people really do need to be very specific about numbers, like measuring and weighing food or so many steps a day or whatever. And I like this for people who want to put everything in one place. Whether, I mean, because like you could still, if you were a step counter, then, on your exercise ring, that you're coloring in at the end of the day, you could do that. Or if your goal was just 5 minutes of yoga a day at the beginning, that's accounting for the small steps because I believe in laying a foundation. So
Okay.
I'm fine with people who can just jump right into a new exercise program and go balls to the wall from the beginning. If that's you, excellent. You know who that's not at 45 years old? Me. So I think like my efforts are just as valid if I start with 5 minutes of walking or 5 minutes of yoga or whatever it is that I decide. If I meet that goal, I met that goal.
And that's exactly how I try to pinpoint it out. That, and I always use like the word physical. That's the step for. Did you physically do anything today? Did you carve out some time? I'm not asking if it was an aerobic workout, anaerobic, if it was high intensity, low intensity. Did you
Right.
get the whole thing in that you scheduled in, or did you just get 5, 10 minutes in there? You did something. You went and shot hoops with the kids. You walked the dog. Because everybody's at a different level.
Yeah.
Some people are this, as you use the balls to the wall type of attitude. I don't hear that too often from women saying it, but hearing if you're that way, that I need to get that high intensity 45, 90 minute, great, check it off. But we're not trying to and I use it this the same way when I talk about eating right. For some people, did I eat right today? And more to the effect of, did I at least eat more good meals than bad?
Right. Or
So
did I
often, because
increase my vegetables or fruit,
yeah, whatever it is that you're trying to do, but can you give yourself a pat on the back? And I like to equate my steps program as far as, can you track, you're like a little corporation. I call MMI, me, myself, and I. Corporations track revenue, sales, and profits. What are you tracking for yourself to see if you're going to get better, as you move down the road? And so just steps is every day you just look in there and you shade in the steps. It takes less than 2 minutes. When I first created the idea, Melissa, I thought it was just, well, I've been doing it for like 20 some odd years now. But it wasn't until about a couple of years ago that I was being interviewed for an article on health and fitness, and they came back a year later and said, "Hey, Doc, we really like that whole health and fitness stuff that you did with us last year. We want to do another one, and didn't know if we want to do it more body, mind, and spirit." So I kind of scratched my head about it for a second. Well, do I share what I've been doing? Is this something? And so I shared it with them, and the writer came back and said, "This is the coolest thing I've ever seen." Because I showed him the pictures, and he looked at some of the stuff that I was doing and everything. Yeah, this is such a visual thing. And I always say, if you're 45, you still might remember Seinfeld when he was in his prime or not,
Oh yeah.
when he had his show. But he had his calendar. I don't know if you're familiar with his calendar that he created, and it was he did was, if I took 10 minutes to write jokes that day, I would just mark off the X. And if I didn't, you didn't put anything on there. But by the end of the month, you could quickly visually see how many days he did that was good. That's going to help him become the success that he became, right? And so
Right.
all we're doing with the steps in that 1 week calendar, that 1 month calendar, whichever one you're looking at, can you quickly see, like, oh man, I took 4 steps, 5 steps, 3 steps, two. I took 0 steps, 1 step, didn't do anything. What's it going to take to move you? And that's all it is. It's just an accountability and feedback. We all know what to do. Is, are you doing it?
Yeah. Wow. First of all, as much as I've read this Podmatch profile, I'm embarrassed that I did not realize STEPS was an acronym. I don't know how I didn't put that together, but I think that's great. That's a I like catchy stuff that your brain can grab onto and kind of um help you remember, because Lord knows memory stuff. But
Well, I,
yeah,
I think you probably know as well as anybody. Not everybody learns by just reading another book. Some of us are more visual and kinesthetic, and so I really think this taps into a lot of those people that are more visual and kinesthetic. They could see, wow, I took for this week, I took 15 steps, and honestly, the way I kind of came up with the steps program was that, I've been in private practice for over 30 years, right? And when a lot of my patients would come in, their health concerns, some kind of health concern, whether it be weight or whether it be, digestive issues, all kinds of other bad problems that people are struggling with, right? Uh, the and I would tell them, yeah, we want you to eat better. If you want to get better, we know what we need to do. And they all would tell me, yeah, doc, I know I need to eat better, but I'm just not doing a good job at it. And so I would always use this visual picture for them. And we've all seen the little footprints images in the sand, right? And I would say, just at the end of this week, you're going to have an opportunity to take 21 steps towards better health by eating 3 meals a day, 7 days a week. Now, did I expect everybody to take 21 steps forward by having 21 great meals? No. My kids will testify that I'm good. I'm not great at getting 21 steps. So, but if you can have 16 or 17 good meals and maybe 4 or 5 not so good meals, you're at least moving down the road. And for so often, people would say, "Hey, I did really good on that. I did the first day, the second day, third day, really good. Then I cheated that day, and you were completely off the cart. You just completely just stopped. You quit doing anything that you were supposed to be doing, been planning on doing, and so they don't get back on the horse again. And so I just say, listen, if you had a great breakfast, and again, I'll share my distinction of what I consider a great and a good breakfast, because everybody's on a different stage, right? And some of those diet books that I've seen, they are just, in my opinion, too hardcore.
they're
I mean, there's
extreme.
just like
Yeah.
there's Yeah, they're thinking that's the better word. They're too extreme on there, and they go, well, if you're not using sugar, real sugar, you're using either agave or monk fruit, and some of them are calling, that's not good. I mean, that's a whole lot better than using straight refined sugar. Um, but it's just if you have two good meals and for breakfast and lunch, let's say you go out to dinner with your friends and everything, you have a couple of glasses of wine, some dessert, and okay, you had two good meals, one back, you two steps forward, one step back, still has you moving towards your goal. And that was the thing that so many people that I would see in my practice that once they screwed up, they didn't get back on the horse again.
Because we're all stuck in an all or nothing mentality and holding ourselves
Yeah,
to a cross of perfection. And that's something I've really recognized in myself. And that's why I like the idea of this, because it allows for wherever you're starting, whatever you determine that step is perfect. Because like I was talking to my kid the other day, I made some zucchini coins with like fajita cheese, cojita cheese. There were several different things that I put on it, but I just wanted the nutrients of the zucchini, but I wanted it to taste good. Like I didn't eat it because I wanted to be in a calorie deficit. I mean, I could have and should have probably, but I'm just saying I want to start introducing more vegetables and fruits in my life without there being an attachment to weight loss. I do need to lose weight for my A1C, but I didn't want those two connected in that meal. So I said, "Hey, we're going to dress this up with some shit." So that's what we did. But we think that the benefit of those vegetables is not there if we dress them up sometimes. Well, I mean, if you needed to be in a calorie deficit, there's a chance that this wouldn't meet that need, but it did fulfill a nutritional need that I had. I had not been eating vegetables, so I was excited to eat them. My friend the next night made fresh squash from her garden, but she fried it, probably not in a calorie deficit, but I was so excited to get the nutrients from the squash. And I think that's what
right,
the important part is. If even if you don't have a weight loss goal, and truly, I don't even talk about weight loss on the show. So, for just the nutritional benefits of good healthy food, because we know whether or not you are have a high A1C, you know, you we receive nutritional benefits from good foods. And we're not even
right,
talking about just like all organic foods or whatever. But see, for me, a good step forward was um real sugar, regular real sugar, and not diet products. And so,
correct.
like for me, that's a step. And is refined sugar
It's a
great
step
for us?
forward.
No, but it's better. And so that's what I love, is that you get to determine the measure of your success, but using the same steps.
Right. And I think, in simple terms, 5 steps a day. And I like to say 5 steps a day. It's 5 steps forward to whatever you're trying to achieve. And everybody has different goals for different reasons, right? And it's just let me show you what the steps are, since you
Yeah.
said you weren't as familiar with them and everything. And again, it's an acronym for sleep, think, which are more in your mind, eat physical, the body, and spirit for the spirit. And every day you just shade in the step for what your activity. So to go in order of sleep, I always ask, did you sleep good last night? Did you sleep with a smile on your face because you dreamt about where you want to go tomorrow? For a lot of people, they'll say they're stuck somewhere because they really don't know where they want to go. And so if you have some goals and goal, and you don't have to have a goal, 10 years down the road. It could be 10 days down the road. You're trying to get a new job. You want a new car. You have to have something to focus. You're getting ready for a vacation. You want to look better for, going on holiday. Whatever goal that you set in front of yourself, it gives you some direction. And all I'm asking is that before you went to bed last night, did you fall asleep with the remote control in your hand? Or the worst, your phone in your hand, and just kind of just nod it off, and you let your subconscious mind for the next 8 hours just dance with whatever was there. Unfortunately, a lot of people, they go to bed worried, anxious, and nervous about tomorrow. They think about tomorrow's headaches, and the way I like to explain it is, I think we all know we're not supposed to eat crappy food before we go to bed before we go to bed at night. So why would we put feed our mind crappy thoughts before we go to sleep for those 8 hours? So if you go to bed at night and you could just kind of visualize, and I was talking to some teens not too long ago, and it's just if you just visualize, it could be you want to get an A on your test, or you want to get a B on your test, wherever you're at. What goal do you have? Do you want to make the team, the volleyball team, the track team, the soccer team? Do you want to be first chair? You're going to be in the spelling bee. Whatever it is. Different ages have different levels of goals,
Right,
right?
right.
Whatever goal that you're thinking about, can you sit and give your mind a chance to focus on that for those next 7, 8 hours, at least for the 2 minutes before you fall asleep? And why I call it sleeping with a smile is that when you start focusing and you just close your eyes, it's just that visualization, and you start seeing, let's say, giving a great speech, doing a great performance in front of the audience, making a great presentation as a professional, right? Whatever it might be, seeing yourself, in Madrid on the cruise, wherever goal it is that you want to see, when you can start tapping that into your subconscious mind, you start getting a smile on your face. And the more vivid you can make that dream of yours in your head, getting a scholarship, getting an award, buying your first house, buying your second house, buying your lake house, the boat, when you can just see, the guy giving you the keys or whatever it is that you're trying to achieve, if you put that in your mind just for a minute, just focus on it, then, a smile starts slowly developing. I mean, it's just amazing because I know when I do it, it's just, and I'll get so focused sometimes, not every time, not every night. I mean, I'm just as guilty as everybody else. I'm just tired as heck. Okay, yeah, yeah, you ready to? Okay, me too. I'm tired. We're just go to sleep, me and my wife. But if you can do that, it just really helps that subconscious. It lets you gives you some direction for yourself and gives you something for the 8 hours. Let your mind focus on something more pleasant for yourself. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I love this because I talk a lot about building emotional hygiene, but I think that and spiritual hygiene, and I think that this is a way to kind of integrate all of those things into one is building a hygiene, a sleep hygiene, an eating hygiene. Like if you're never putting any real conscious thought into the things that you're doing and you're letting your subconscious rule your life, you're not in
Right.
control. That's how we become the victims of our circumstances without even realizing it because we're not the one in the driver's seat.
Absolutely. So, it's that 80/20 rule of life I always use. About 20% of the people kind of know where they want to go, where they want to be, what they want to do, what they want to achieve. The 80% don't, and sometimes you have to nudge them. And it's like not everybody's meant to have 20-inch biceps, right? And
Right.
so you just have to put the effort in to make it happen.
Hmm.
Not everybody can run a 5-minute mile or a 4-minute mile, but you just have to put the necessary effort to make it happen. And so that was sleep, and it kind of feeds into the think part, and it kind of goes into the sleep. Did you think better today? I mean, I was amazed when I learned this years ago that the researchers say that we process about over 50,000 thoughts a day. And I thought, wow. And as I read more and more, then I looked up all the different research and kept on finding the kind of a lot of the same things, saying they say about 80% of those 50,000 thoughts are yesterday's reruns. And of those yesterday's reruns, 90% of those thoughts are on the negative slant. And I'm sure you know as well, and I'm sure people in your audience know, you might get 10 high five from, congratulations, thank you, social media, this and there. But it's that one person that says you stink that just keeps you up. And so that's what happens in our thinking. We have 50,000 thoughts, and 80% of them are slanted negatively. So we have to make a conscious effort to put those good thoughts in your head. You don't have to say a magic phrase a bazillion times. And I know there's some people that really profess that, but you do need to remind yourself that you can do it. I'm strong, I'm faithful, I'm strong, whatever goal you're trying to achieve. And when I've lectured, I've always say, imagine, what is a coach going to tell you? Imagine it's the ninth inning of the game, 2 outs, runner on third base, you're down by 1 run. Who's up to bat next? not me. I made the
Hmm.
last out in the last inning, but the next person about to bat, you're going, oh my gosh, what are we gonna tell him? He's the worst one on the team. You're not going to tell him, oh, guys, we're not going to make it to the championship. You're going to pump them up. You're going to tell them, hey, this is going to be great. You can do it. Just keep your, and so we have to do the same thing to ourselves. Okay, we can't. Some of us can hire a coach, but still the coach can't be with you 24/7. So you have to, in my mind and everything I've learned and read and everything, you have to make that conscious effort of 1 minute here, 1 minute there, just reminding yourself that, whether you want to be healthy, wealthy, and wise, or as I like to say, bigger, better, bolder, whatever term, whatever phrase is going to fit for you. But if you can spend 1 minute here, 1 minute there, 1 minute there, pretty soon that's another drop in the bucket. It's another drop in the bucket. You might finally start moving that. You have enough drops that you make a stain on the carpet, if you understand what I'm trying to say, where it makes an impact on you. And if you can just start doing that, remind yourself. But so many of the patients I've seen and counseled with, as far as and on a health basis, physical health, but when you sit and talk with patients, they share more stuff with you and more stuff with you, so you feel like a little bit of a counselor as well. But it's just, you have to take action, and it's like I heard you say your kids and everything, and I don't know how old your kids are, but we just have to sit there and we nourish them with positive thoughts, okay? And it's important for youngsters, because unfortunately for kids, which is really sad, we don't let kids drive until they're 16 years old, right? We don't let kids, decide what to put on their plate, because they're going to always pick the greasy, sweet tasting this, that, and the other. But kids get full control of what they feed their mind with by the time they enter the second decade of life. And so how easy it is to start just thinking more and more of, I can't do this, no one likes me, I'm afraid of this and that and the other. And you just keep on perpetuating. A drop here, a drop there, a drop there. I can do it. I'm better. I'm strong. I'm confident. Whatever it is,
Hmm.
you may slowly start moving that mindset. And if you did that, if you thought better today, shade in the tea.
Yeah, or at least if you were very intentional. I mean, like until you learn how to control the thoughts in your brain, it is tough to keep some of those negative ones out. But how much did you focus on trying to talk to yourself kinder and sweeter and more loving and nurturing? And
Exactly.
there are
Yeah,
different levels of nurturing thoughts, just like food.
right. Right. But you have to do something on the good side. Yeah, we've known for a couple of thousand years you are what you think, right? But it's also true you are what you eat, because we're more familiar with that one. But we are also what we think. If you, I think it was Henry Ford who said, whether if you think you can or think you can't, you're right. And so if you tell yourself that, nobody likes me, I'm not going to win, I'm not going to get the promotion, I'm not going to find in, you're just you're putting the thoughts of that defeat into your subconscious mind. And not to say that you got to rah this, but you have to put, having young kids still, when they walk out there, whether it be on the field of competitive athletes, right, or you go into the spelling bee, going to take your test, or audition for the play, for audition to the band. If you don't think you're going to get it, and you just say, well, nobody, I'm not going to do it, you're reducing in my opinion, you're reducing your chance of getting there. So yeah, you still got to practice, you still have to know your stuff, but you also have to use that mind to help you as well.
Right. I love that. Yeah, and I do think it's a simple way of putting all of that together and being able to have the visual like you said. I think that visual component is so important. It's kind of like for me having to like if more than two things pop up in a week where I'm like, "Oh, I got to remember to do that." And I've said that a couple of times, I'm like, "Oh, brain dump, write everything down. I have to make sure I put it on a to-do list cuz now I'm getting overwhelmed."
Right.
But seeing it and marking it off makes me deliriously happy. Like when I have a to-do list
Well,
and I start marking through it, it makes me so happy because I can see what I had versus what I have left. And it's the same thing here. Getting to just like visually see your progress. And why I really like it again, I'm saying the same thing in a different way because I just felt it differently, but it's because nobody's asking you to be perfect. So being able to see
Right.
progress over perfection, it's just like I can think of how many times I looked back. I mean, I think my first time of ever trying to like get my shit together, I had a mind, body, spirit goal for each day. And not really knowing how to even measure if I had met the goal for that day, it was really tricky. Like, I remember asking myself, like, did I do a good job at that? Like, I don't even know. I like this because it really does allow you to figure out what you're going to use to measure it.
Right. Exactly. And the way you just described it, that's kind of what I was doing back in 2000, in the 2000s, right? I would just have my calendar, and I would make notations of I was already living on my own and everything, and it's like, okay, I wanted to exercise. Did I do good? Yeah. I want to get better in golf. Am I playing golf at least once a week, or practicing golf to get better? If you go play golf, you don't get better. You have to go practice. As I learned, but it's like, okay, I want to become a better artist. So I started learning how to draw and everything. Am I taking at least 1 or 2 days a week to do that and everything? I was into dance. Am I practicing my dancing and everything? Am I doing that? Am I stretching the way I'm supposed to? Am I reading what I said I want to be reading each time? So that's how I would put all these little notations on my calendar, and by the end of the month, I could see, okay, that week I did, oh, this week I didn't do anything. I just, friends were in town. There were other excuses, yada, 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 girlfriend this, whatever. Just, it was my distraction to where I didn't accomplish nearly as much. So that was how I really been started the steps. I just used it. It was just a visual thing. I could quickly look back at that calendar, or that monthly calendar, and see, oh yeah, I did 10 of those that week. I practiced my dance 10 times. I did this. I played my guitar, got better doing that. And so that was just kind of, it was that visual thing. And so that was the creation of it.
Yeah, I love that. And that it made me think too, like if you are looking, maybe even noting on the days where you didn't take as many steps, like what was happening so that you can kind of see some maladaptive coping too. Is there a pattern here where if I'm experiencing this, I eat like this, or I don't do this for my physical, whatever it is, or is this disrupting my sleep? If you can even keep track a little bit of those types of things, that helps because then you're going to know where you're having trouble making the decisions that you said you wanted to make. There isn't a good or
Right.
bad, it's what you decided you wanted for your life. So, like, are you propelling yourself forward in the way that you determined best for you? But if you're not, you can look and go, oh, I'm seeing a pattern. When this happens, I do this, and that's not what I want to do.
Well, see, here, to your point, what you're saying, I mean, I've gone through all that because, again, I was just doing the calendar, and I was also journaling. And, the therapy of coming from just journaling,
Yeah,
letting your thoughts out and everything. And that was great. But I realized I didn't really ever go back to read very much of it because, one, my
right.
writing was terrible. And so it was difficult. But I have, you know, books of all the stuff that I journaled with as far as the amount of time I journaled and everything, and my calendars. And then I realized when I created steps, it, it, I'll go back. I said that I was being interviewed, and they wanted me to do the story on this thing. So I created it, and then I shared it with a couple of friends, and they all said they all read, because each step has a little, 2-page description of each one of the steps, and they would all come back and say, Len, this is really good, but you need to make this an app, and I got to get my kids to read this thing because they're really. And
Yeah.
so I said, well, no, I think it needs to be a calendar. And, it just took another 6 months or so from sharing it and trying to put it together. And then I said, okay, I got a calendar, thinking that's going to be the that's going to be like water, that's going to save everybody. And then it's like, oh no, I guess journaling, how can they journal? Because there's going to be some people that really want to at least put some notations down.
Right.
So it created a journal with it as well. And then but they kept saying it needs to be an app, and it needs to be an app. And so when we put the app together, when you click on the day, there's some drop down notes. You can add your own notation on there. You can also circle the date to signify, hey, when you look back real quick, break, you can kind of say, "Oh, that was a big day. What was that? Why is that? Why is that the 12th circled?" And oh, okay. You look back, you kind of put whatever notes you found. Uh,
I love
so
that.
it's an accountability journal. It's kind of you said a minute ago. This is I'm taking to-do list to the next level.
Yeah,
Are you doing the things to feed your body, mind, and spirit? Nobody needs to know all what you're doing and everything. You just
right.
it's not, hey, yeah, I'm trying to eat better. I'm trying to eat right. I'm taking more steps forward. I'm trying to, I want to go to bed. I want to kind of think about some of the better stuff. I don't want to go to again, vision boards. If you're familiar with the benefits of vision boards, just to something to anchor, see, the cruise line you want to go on, the vacation, the house you want to buy. I mean, I joke, but it was true. I used to visualize myself sitting at the altar because I got married late in life.
Yeah.
I had gone. Uh, yeah, I couldn't find anybody. I'll just say it that way. Um, but it, uh, but it took me a while to find the right one and everything. And I've been 27 years, so we've been doing well. But it was before that. Yeah, I ran through a number of female friends and everything. But it was like, gosh, I started just visualizing just being at the church, getting ready for the way I envision the coming down and sure enough, I think 5 years later it happened that way. So you got to plant the seed and it worked and everything.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is that to believe it, you have to see it because you have to make your subconscious see what it's going after. It won't ever recognize it when you're out there doing it. But again, I think that goes back to intention. This this is another tool that people can use to live a more present and grounded life because it's not asking you to track every minutia. It's saying if you are
Right.
living intentionally in these, small ways, this is how you can track your intentions. Are you living the way that you're intending to? And can you visualize what you want that to look like?
Exactly. I think it was Norman Vincent Peale who said, "If the mind can conceive it, the body can achieve it." So,
Mm-hmm.
and unfortunately, from a lot of stuff that I've read and heard from, is that a lot of time certain percentage of the population, they don't know what they want to see happen tomorrow. They don't have any kind of goals, and you don't have to have goals planned out for the next 30 years, but you have to, if it is just trying to make the team, trying to get that new office, trying to get a new car, trying to find a better apartment, whatever the better relation, you have to have some kind of intention. You have to have direction, and I think I always use the analogy of we've all heard of the land of milk and honey, right? Everybody wants to be at
Mm-hmm.
the land of milk and honey, and I say if you don't know where your land of milk and honey is, don't complain if you end up at the land of headaches and heartache. So you have to know where you want to go. You may not be exactly there, but at least you have direction. So when the wind is in your face, you're getting there. But when the wind's at your back, you can really make some great strides. And so finding direction in your life of where you want to be, where you want to go. If you just wake up every morning just like, oh God, let me go get the keys, let me go get my teeth, let me go out the door to go to work. I hate my job, and if you're not setting your sights on something, it doesn't have to be majesties or money, or it just has to be something that you're striving for. But I want to be just a better artist. I want to be a better dancer. I want to be a better. Just give yourself something that you can start taking the steps to get there. And I mean that just doing the things you need to do. I think using my 5 steps a day can be helpful for you because it just helps you in 2 minutes. You can kind of track if you're doing some of the things that will help you get to where, to be healthy, wealthy, and wise, or like I like to say, bigger, better, bolder.
Yeah, I love that. I love that so much. And I love too that you're saying you had to use this in your personal life and that's how it was developed. I think the best stuff comes from when you're trying to figure out your own shit and you get a system that works and then you go share that with others. I kind of think that's what, like, each of us have a purpose, and that is the biggest part of it, is to see what works for us and share with others so that we have a lot of different ways to track progress or to live intentionally, whatever the case, whatever your goal is. I love that. I also love that you have a
Well,
calendar and a app, like that it's on, like you have a paper version or an app version.
oh, well, cool.
I love
Well,
that.
well, because when I first created it, I thought, well, again, this was before apps were even around. When I was using just the
Yeah.
calendar, there were no such thing. We didn't even have cell phones back then. But
Right.
it was as I started going with it, it said, okay, you got to make it an app, got to make it an app. Made it an app now, so it's just, the app's finally just live and everything. But let me share with the other two steps as far as the body, which is the eat and the physical and the spirit part, because I think we've covered what we feed our mind, but the letter E and the letter P are more obvious, and I think people understand that so much easier when they
Mm.
talk about if you want to get healthier, you got to eat better. You have to at least eat more good meals than bad meals, and that's all we're trying to say. Did you eat right? Everybody's on a different level. For some people, just not having a second serving, not having dessert with the meal, not having a big drink with the meal, so, not putting all of the refined sugars in there and everything. Others might say it needs to be grass fed, it needs to be organic, it needs to be this. So did you do anything? Did you eat right today? If you ate right, or at least ate more good meals than bad, shade in the step. And I always just tell everybody, remember, it's okay to have a splurge meal. I have, believe me, I have more splurge meals than what you would think for like the nutritionist, right? But I'll have my splurge meals, and it is a splurge meal. It's not like the whole gallon of ice cream is gone. It's just that one time I get it, and I feel like crap for the next several
Yep.
hours, and so I don't want to eat it again for a few more
Uh-huh.
days. But two steps forward and one step back, you're still moving forward. And the same thing with physical. That's one thing. For some people, you may not be physical every day. But still, if you set yourself up, say, I'm going to work out 3 times a week, great. But hey, maybe on that one day, maybe you did some gardening, maybe you just walked to the grocery store, maybe you just took the dog for a walk. You did something that was physically active. I know I'll travel on a regular basis here, and so just if I'm leaving the house at 5:30 in the morning to get to the airport, I'll fly out. It's just the 20-minute walk from my car to the gate with the 20-pound backpack on there. That's exercise. So that I shade it in. I do it twice, going and coming and everything. And so to me, that I did something physical. I'm not asking again if it was a full workout, a long workout. Did you physically do something? Yeah, I did something. Don't feel bad. Just pack stuff on the back. Tomorrow's another day. To get your full workout in, to do whatever kind of workout you're doing. But you got to do more than what you were doing. You have to do something. And just are you making it a habit for yourself? And as when I was asked to come lecture to some teenagers, because one of the pastors, he saw what I created. He goes, this is really cool, and he read it. He goes, I love what you talk about, how for teenagers, they're at their second decade of life, they get full control of their mind already. How they feed their mind. We're
Mm-hmm.
still feeding them. My kids, they say, how come we don't have anything? I shouldn't say good to eat, anything sweet and sugary to eat in the house. And I go, when you pay the bills, you get to pick what you want to and everything. Me and mom are paying the bills, and so we're not. And yeah, mom buys more of the bad stuff than I do, but I buy my fair share too. But it's still, you try to just, more of this, not as much of that. And I could be real strict, and I could be a whole lot more lenient about it also. I like to think I'm
Mm-hmm.
doing a good job with them, and just trying to get them on the right track, because believe me, I've seen the results of for being in that health and wellness field for as long as I've been.
Absolutely. Well, man, I have loved this conversation. Is there anything, any final words or anything you didn't feel like you got to touch on, anything like that? I will make sure to include all of your links in the show notes, but anything that you want to say is just fine with me.
I just encourage you to go check out the app and everything. Or you can, if you're the old-fashioned paper and pencil, we have that also as well. But the app is simple, it's free. You can also journal on it as well. You can make notations on there. Still trying to learn how to make it better and everything. And the only way I can get more input on that is just feedback from other people. But I think it's just a simple way to see if you're doing what you need to be doing, and if you can share it with somebody else also, because taking the walk with another person is always, two is better than one,
Yeah.
and you don't have to compare all your steps, or you could, because you're not really being that. Um, you're not they can't read you're not writing everything about why
Right.
you ate bad today, or why you what you're visualizing. You just say, hey man, I was focused on where I want to go. So yeah, 5 steps a day. Please check it out. If you like it, please share it with somebody, and we'll see it's just my way of, instead of just tracking your steps or tracking
Yeah.
your rings in your exercise. Everybody's doing that. It's just another way. 2 minutes. Are you doing the stuff you need to be doing to be bigger, better, bolder, healthy, wealthy, and wise? Whatever three
Whatever
words you
your
want to
whatever
use.
your 3-word phrase is. I love it. I love it so
Yeah.
much. Well, thank you so
Well, cool.
much.
Thank you. Well, I appreciate that. I'm sorry for the headaches and the technical difficulties that we had at the beginning.
Listen, I'm being serious. It's happened to me personally so many times where something like that went on. There's no way I would ever be upset with somebody for tech issues because literally, well, when I first started this show, I had lots because I had no idea what I was doing. And then,
Yeah.
even sometimes when I'm guesting on someone else's, I can't like get my mic to work or and
Okay.
nothing's changed, but yet all of a sudden it's not working. So believe me, I am not the slightest bit upset about your tech issues.
How long have you been doing your show, man?
Um, the first episode aired April 29th of last year of 2024. So
Okay.
just like
Okay.
15, 16 months.
What ignited you to do that?
Um, I quit a full time job. I mean, I'm a talker. I had wanted to do a podcast for a long time, but I kind of went through like a major mental health crisis and started moving pieces in my life, and so I quit a full time job, started my podcast and a private practice for. I'm a therapist, and
Okay.
I don't know, just kind of wanted to connect with other people and share what I was learning to like help myself.
Okay. Yeah. Len, you got to get a podcast. You got to get a podcast. I go, well, I don't. Part of me says it would be nice, but I'm already doing enough stuff. And I go, unique. I think my unique thing is that I have a product, at least though, that I can come on your show, and so I don't have to be so. I know the job duty is having
I
an
don't think
office
you should
being.
do a podcast unless you just love stuff like that, because they can be a
Yeah.
headache. It really can. I mean, there's lots that go into it. I do 3 episodes a week, which is more than the average, but um,
Oh, okay.
I literally wanted to so badly. I wanted to have a podcast, but I've always been a talker and always preferred deep conversations. So I don't like small talk and stuff like that. So this is a perfect way for me to get that. And also I meet a bunch of people on the same path trying to better their lives. So I get a lot of free advice.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, I guess hear what you said also, it makes me. I'd like to think that, yeah, because I do have a product that I can promote or sell or whatever, and then the information that I think that's helpful for others. That, okay, I think it's better for me to just try to be on other people's podcasts to get the word out, as opposed to me trying to host and try to get you to come on my show.
I mean,
So
I think if
we'll
you
see.
wanted a show and you wanted that, you could get that. I think you could, but if what you actually want is to promote your product, then why not just continue? I mean, you're on
Okay.
Podmatch, so it won't be hard to get
Okay.
on shows, I'm sure.
Okay, like I said, I'm a much better doctor and speaker than I am yeah, I don't know what the word is, influencer or podcaster.
I
But
mean, if you
hey, I
want a
won't take up any
podcast,
more
you
of your.
could do it, but there's so much that goes into promoting all of that. Like, if you're just wanting to promote your product, you might as well just stick to what you're doing because that's where your
Yeah,
passion
that's what
really
I.
is your product, you know?
Well, that's what I thought also, and because again, I have. people saying, no, you need to do this, and I'm trying. Oh, Len, I'm only as smart as I think I am, and so am I right? So let me just get somebody else's opinion here and there and everything. And again, I appreciate you taking the time to share that with me.
Yeah. I mean, again, if there's any part of you that wants to do it, but you're just nervous about all those details, it's not that big a deal. And I could even walk you through a lot of the easy front steps. But if it's only because people are telling you like, hey, blah blah blah, but it doesn't like feel like a passion project for you, because it there are a lot of emotional ups and downs too. So like for
Right,
me, it's easy to navigate the challenges because this is my passion and very much a part of my purpose on this earth. So,
right, right.
it's easy for me to persevere and keep going with technological challenges and stuff. But if it's not a passion or part of your purpose, it's easy to quit.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I like to think I'm on the right track. If I didn't have a product, I just wanted to become financially wealthy or smarter, whatever, I would. But I thought, yeah, I think I have that, and I have a fitness product also. So just if I can promote those, that's great, and hopefully that'll give me enough time to stay home and have fun with the kids and the wife and everything.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I think you're doing great. And, just keep getting on as many podcasts as you can. If you want, I've got a guy, I'm going to send him your profile. His name's Pete. He has Pete versus anxiety. Um
Mm.
and and he's a great dude. Just really sweet, loving, down to earth. He's also on Podmatch, but I'll send your profile to him and he'll reach out probably.
Oh, thank you so much. I really
Yeah,
appreciate that.
absolutely. If I can ever be of service in any way, you let me know.
Hey, thank you for that offer as well. Hey, I don't want to take up any more of your time. I know I have already and everything. So,
You're
oh,
cool.
when do you think this will come out? And you said about three
About
weeks, or
three and a half weeks, I think.
okay, okay, it gives
Yeah,
me an idea.
keep a
And
watch on
they'll
the Podmatch dashboard because it'll tell you.
okay, perfect. Hey, Melissa, thank you so much and everything.
Thank
Hey, my
you.
wife's name's Melissa. She just
For
spells
real?
it differently.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, I,
Well, have a
I never
fabulous
saw it
Friday,
spelled.
man.
I never seen it spelled that way. I haven't even
It's
told you because they're
different.
out of town right now.
Yeah, no, it's different. It's my parents they thought they were cute, I guess.
Was that the way it was at birth?
Yeah.
Most they okay
Yeah,
because I
but
know.
the hospital messed it up. And so I actually I had two birth certificates. They were so serious about it. They made them amend it. And like
They thought
this
somebody
is
misspelled it or something.
well, yeah, I guess so. And so they were like, no, this is my daughter's spelling. And so yeah, I don't have them both anymore. It was something I saw when I was little, but my family lost everything, so I don't have it. But yeah, so I I've heard a couple of different reasons why they chose it, but I think they just wanted to be different.
Well, you've seen people spell John and John differently, Jon,
Uh-huh.
John, but I've never seen Melissa spelled that way. I've heard, but yeah, even my name growing up was Leonard, and right about that time, that's when Leonard Skinner, when I was in high school, became
Uh-huh.
popular. So that tells you how old I am. I'm in the middle of my seventh decade right now. So but Leonard Skinner, he spelled it Lynyrd and not the traditional Leonard. So,
Mm-hmm.
well, hey, Melissa, thank you so much for your time again. I don't want to take up any more of your time.
Thank
I
you. I
really
hope you have
appreciate
a
all
great
you.
weekend, man.
Thank you. Take care. Bye
All
bye.
right, bye. Thanks for coming to Emotionally Unavailable. If you haven't already, like, subscribe, and share.